Let's begin with the warm-up. We are going to start with leg swings. I usually do around 10 to 15 leg swings per leg. I make sure I bring the leg as high as I can while keeping my core and my upper body stable. The purpose of this is to warm up your hamstrings, your entire lower body, get the blood flowing, and prevent injury. Another great exercise that I always include on my warm-up are inchworms. In this case, I'm adding a push-up. I not always do it, but I decided to do a push-up today. Then I take a big step to the side and I rotate the torso 3 to 5 times. This is gonna really help you to open up at your thoracic spine while warming up your hips, and the leg that's stretched behind you is getting a good stretch on the hip flexor. So you're gonna stay down on your plank and do both sides. So you're gonna do the same thing on both sides. And then after your rotations, you're going to crawl back on your feet, keeping always your legs nice and straight so you can feel the stretch through your hamstrings. And I add 3 shoulder rolls at the top. I usually do 2 to 3 repetitions of the entire exercise. Because my first exercise are barbell back squats, I'm going to finish my warm-up with 10 bodyweight squats, thinking of my technique, driving my knees forward while pushing my hips back, pushing the heels into the ground, and practicing my breathing. We are going to start the workout with barbell back squats, high bar. So I'm going to get under the bar and perform at least one set just with the barbell to warm up. I also like taking my shoes off and train barefoot in some of my exercises because it really gives me a good feeling on the ground, like I'm gripping the floor. Let's talk first quick about back squat technique. So for the back squat, you want to make sure that the bar is set above your traps, your trapezius muscle, not over your neck, not below on your shoulders, but just above the traps. Now you want to also make sure your core is stable, your chest is up, and as you descend, you want to push your knees out and over your toes while pushing also your hips back. So you want the bar to basically be above the center of mass without excessively leaning forward or tilting back. So it's something quite difficult to achieve, but again, with practice, you will get there. So I've done my barbell warm up and now I'm starting another set of warm up with 50 kilograms. Today I'm going to go up to 70 kilograms. So the heavier you get, the more warm up sets you need to perform, because you cannot just start with a heavy load. Your joints are not ready. You need to give your body adaptation time and also perform the movement pattern to avoid injury and making sure that your body can handle the load. So basically you need to send signals and slightly lift heavier and heavier until you get to your target weight. So after a couple of warm-up sets, now we are with 70 kilograms. I'm going to perform my first official working set. I am going to unrack the bar with my both feet straight under the bar, and I'm going to take 2 to 3 steps back. Now I make sure I have a strong brace, so I make sure my core is tight, and then I take a deep breath before going down. Then on the way up, I breathe out through my mouth. I am going to make sure I keep this breathing pattern throughout the set. Pardon me, why don't you come over here?
ask you something quickly, my dear. Why do you always settle for something less? You know that, baby, you deserving the best. Yeah, yeah. Go take a look up in the mirror.
So you can see I put the barriers, the safety barriers quite high here. This is just in case I get stuck at the bottom, I can just leave the bar there and I don't have to worry about having a spotter. This set was actually quite tough. I still make sure I go low on and deep on each rep. I try to maintain my chest up and always try to go below parallel.
It's time to listen to yourself right now. Make us wait. Don't even listen to these guys right now. Make us wait. This treasure buried deep inside right now. Make us wait. So go and see what you can find right now. Don't you know you're not just some other girl? There's no one like you anywhere in the world.
Time to move into our next exercise, Romanian deadlifts. I always like to perform one set, same as I do with the squats, I do with every exercise. So I'm gonna do one set with the bar only. I'm going to grab a grip slightly wider than my shoulders. Your grip width will depend entirely on your arm length, so the longer your arms, the wider you will grip your bar. Now you want to make sure you keep the bar really tight against your thighs. You want to keep a neutral, completely flat spine, and then you want to descend by breaking at your hips, keeping the knees soft but not locking them. So I'm going to perform one more warm-up set with 50 kilograms before heading into my first working set. So here, this helps me really to feel the load, practice the movement pattern a little bit more, and get my joints ready for the next set. I am ready for my first working set with 70 kilograms on the bar. I'm using lifting straps here because this weight is pretty heavy for me, and without straps I will probably fail sooner than I would want to. So straps really help you to sustain your grip, and you can focus on the muscles that you want to target. So that's why I'm using straps, but you should not use the straps in all your sets because it's important that you strengthen your grip. Let's begin by softening the knees and driving the hips back, lowering the bar close to our body, below the knees, and pulling strongly with your glutes and hamstrings. Those two muscles should be the primary movers. Now, the back also is highly engaged. As you can see, it's completely straight, and I'm pulling tight against my thighs as I come up with the bar forcefully. Now, I keep my knees perhaps a little bit too straight because I have very flexible hamstrings, so I'm almost performing a stiff leg deadlift here, but it's the only way for me to feel the stretch. Now this is a different angle and is set number 2, so you can see how I move on this plane, and hopefully it can help you as well adjust your position if you have any problems during your Romanian deadlifts. So here we go. Moving into our third exercise, seated leg press. I must admit I didn't really like this machine. In particular, I'm used to the one at my gym. This was a different gym and it felt like it lacked a little bit of range of movement, so I couldn't go as deep as I would have liked to. but I still did it. So here is the first set. To give you some cues, you want to focus on pushing through the heels, keeping the knees out as you descend, and really concentrating on controlling your tempo. So do not drop fast on the way down, but count 2 to 3 seconds on the way down. If you can, do a little pause at the bottom, and then at the top of the movement, never lock your knees. Fourth exercise of the routine is lying leg curls. So I'm doing 2 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, making sure I control the way down, contract and bring the pad as close as I can to my glutes, and then making sure I'm holding strong onto the machine. I'm going to perform now a couple of hamstrings stretches that are really going to help me to relieve my muscles before moving into the seated leg curl, which is our next and last exercise of this routine. Moving into our last exercise of the routine, seated leg curl. I'm going to adjust the pad so that it sits comfortably below my knee. I'm going to dorsiflex my feet and then pull the pad down fast and then release the pad slowly. I want to try to keep tension through my hamstrings as I do my repetitions. And I'm going to make sure I perform the eccentric, so the way up slowly, to then curl and hold for like around 1 second at the bottom of the movement. I just recorded 2 sets of the seated leg curl, which is our last exercise. So thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something from the video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave any comments below. Thank you.